Malign Portents. Village of Mists. Etherean plied her reins, guiding her ensorced, sky-cutter chariot between rocky crags. Scale, the huge hawk that drew it, gave a shriek of joy as he soared. Etherean envied him. Her own mood was dark. The city turned towards madness, she called to Dorthariel and Galebrian over the howl of the wind. The trio of Swifthawk agents had been quiet since departing the Phoenicum hours earlier. Now, Etherean aired what they were all thinking. "They say the blooded skull manifested in the flames of the Phoenix Temple," said Galabrian. "The disquiet feels unnatural, even so," said Dothriel. "The Silent Guard have started burning their city's dead." "Is it so strange?" said Celebrian. "Don't forget the message that the Eldritch Council have us bearing. An imbalance in the energies of life and death, they said. Is it so terrible an idea to place our dead beyond the reach of such a curse?" "They should lie in honoured repose, not to taint the temple flame with their ashes," said Dothriel, aghast. Etherean raised a hand, stilling further debate. The skycutter was sweeping over the low passes, arrowing towards the mouth of the Seven Hounds Valley. Their destination, the fortified township of Houndsgate, should have been in sight. Instead, it was obscured. "Mist," she said. "Thick." "Unnaturally so," replied Celebran. "There may be danger," said Dothriel. "Skill will never make it through the trees and crags amidst that," said Celebrian. "Then we land," replied Athriel. "Athrian, we have a duty." "As you say," said Celebrian. "Set down there." Athrian guided the skycutter to a smooth landing atop a stone spar. Tendrils of fog swirled as they slid to a stop. Skeel bristled with disquiet. "What is that vile scent?" asked Dothriel. Etherean sniffed, narrowing her eyes. The smell was elusive, a memory she couldn't quite grasp. "Let us not waste time," she said. "Bows ready, follow me." The elves stepped into the mists. Sure in the knowledge Scale would not abandon them, Athrian led, padding through tree trunks that loomed through the mist. Moisture hung in the air, reducing visibility to a matter of yards. Daylight became a grey glimmer. Even Athrian's sharp senses found sound and smell muffled amidst the veil. Her heart thumped as she descended the slope, eyes straining for movement. The walls of Houndsgate rose up so suddenly that they seemed to have manifested from thin air. The elves paused, looking up at the ramparts. "No sound beyond the walls," said Dothriel, Athrian's sister. "Something is dreadfully wrong." "Follow," she said. They stalked along the base of the walls, arrows nocked. Athrian saw no watchfires on the wall top, no movement. Her heart beat faster, and she frowned at another waft of that maddening stench. The western gate swam into view. "Open, unguarded," whispered Celebran. Steeling her nerve, Athrian padded up the tall wooden gate, pressing against its timbers. They were slimed with ice-cold algae. She recoiled from the foul sensation with a hiss. Athrian slid around the door and into the open gateway, bow at full draw. "No one," said Dothriel. Athrian kept her bowstring taut as she absorbed the scene before her. Houndsgate's Market Street led away, streets branching off it, homes and businesses rising spectral among the fog. Doors and windows hung open. Food stalls lined the cobbles, heaped with rotting produce. A couple of alchemical street lanterns sputtered. The rest were dark. A handcart lay on its side in the street, swords and handguns spilling from it. Ground mist flowed thick as a river over the cart and drifted past the three elves' shins. "Search," said Athrian. She stalked into Houndsgate with eyes darting and senses outstretched. A metal sign creaked mournfully outside the blacksmith's, its steady reek, reek playing on Atherian's nerves. "There's no breeze to stir it," muttered Celebran, and Athrian felt a chill creep up her back. The elves crept through the streets like ghosts, slipping into the gloom of abandoned homes and empty shops, but finding no signs of life. Meals sat half-eaten, candles were burnt down to mounds of tallow. Coins and books and mirrors and all manner of personal possessions lay scattered on tavern counters and bedroom floors. Everything they touched was damp and cold, wet through and ruined in a way that even the thickest mists could not explain. Weapons, too, were scattered around the town, as though the centuries carrying them had simply been spirited away and left their armaments to clatter to the floor. Athrian's skin crawled, and her suffocating sense of dread increased with every room, until she could hardly bear to take another step. "Not a gun fired, nor a blade bloodied," said Dothriel, as the three elves stood at last in the empty town square. "Not that the powder would spark, it is so wet," replied Celebran. "What happened here? Was it the dead? Malarian's work? They cannot simply have left." Athrian shook her head, unwilling to leap to conclusions. "There are no answers here, only questions," she said. "I am loath to bear ill tidings back to an already troubled city. The Phoenicium must be warned." It was only as they hastened from Houndsgate's empty shell and the feeling of lurking threat eased, that Athrian finally placed the strange scent on the air. It had been almost a half-century since she had accompanied the expedition to the Dawn's Eye realm gate, but at last the memory surfaced. She had stood upon the headland that day, amidst the corpses of Chaos worshippers, and had seen the devastation left after the ocean had vomited up a tsunami from its blackest depths. On that day, the offshore winds had picked up the same, sweeping away the stench of blood and death and replacing it with a dark, briny reek. The smell that saturated this strange mist and clung to every object and building in Houndsgate. It was the smell of the deeps, of the ocean chasms below.